Welcome. This is Experience More Tour, and we are here today to talk about adidas TERREX products, specifically trail running products. And to have an informed conversation, we've invited Rowan Boyd, calling in from Germany, to discuss with us adidas TERREX products. Now, Rowan is an absolute expert in the trail running line, and I'm going to let Rowan explain why he's an expert. Rowan, what is it that you do at adidas TERREX, and what makes you such an expert?
My name is Rowan. I've been in TERREX for about 1.5 years now, and concentrating specifically on the TERREX trail running product scenario. I joined about 1.5 years ago. Before that, I was in the innovation department, so I brought a lot of that kind of curiosity and knowledge over to trail running. And it's been such a really cool journey to be on the trail running side of things, because one of the latest launches was the Aerobic Speed Ultra. If the audience is familiar with that, which we're really celebrating at the moment, because it's been a journey from innovation to end consumer, and it's been quite a fun project to work on.
Yeah, it's a fascinating project, and part of what I've learned from talking with you a little bit is your athlete team has been incredibly influential in some of these projects. Tell us a little bit about your athlete team. You have a very large athlete team, massive investment in this. So first of all, why have such a large athlete team?
Yeah, I mean, it's really to show our commitment and our passion for trail running. It's our statement that we're committed to the sport, and we really are focused on it and want to grow with the sport. So I think we've got about 40. I think it's about 40 plus runners with us, of different calibers as well. We're obviously very interested in being on the podiums, but we're very happy to go on the journey with all the athletes as well. And having that portfolio as well is just a really great resource for us to help develop projects and products with them. So it's a win-win situation. They get something from us, and we really can learn from them as well. So it's been really cool to have them here. They're on campus just a couple of weeks ago. And they stayed here on campus for 3 days, and yeah, we had a lot of workshops with them. We had interviews with them. We had them on stage. Björn, our CEO, had a chat with Petter, one of the athletes. It was a really cool experience for us, and I think they really got something out of it as well. They really talk about this family atmosphere that they have here when they come here, when the team comes together. And yeah, I think it's a really unique way to bring together a team. It's not just about sponsoring athletes; it's about creating a team.
Right, this whole team feel, and kind of creating and promoting that, and then working with them to create your best products, right? So how do you leverage their expertise, or what are you sort of learning to gain from either them or having them field trial or whatever it might be, to help you steer your products in the right direction?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking about a couple of projects that we've been working on recently, and one of them is really just starts with having a conversation with them. We come with a certain point of view. We want to develop a product in this direction for this purpose, and then really set the scene and really then get their feedback on where we'd like to go with it. We just on this Monday, we had a couple of athletes testing in Innsbruck in Austria, some very early prototypes. Haven't even got the official feedback on that yet, but that's always super interesting to get pro athletes into the shoes. And at the same time, we also tested with some of our normal athletes as well, our normal wear testers. And this feedback really gets gathered together, positives, negatives, and it's usually a very productive method to get better products. We're always interested in the negative feedback, to be honest, because that's really shows us where we can improve and what's needed, what's not needed, and really hone it down to the essential elements of what makes a high performance shoe.
What's interesting is you're part of the Adidas, empire. That's the wrong word, but I mean, it's a large organization, and
Yeah.
TERREX is this disruptive, slightly nimble organization within it. But you have access to the resources of Adidas, which is really cool. You were telling me about some of the interesting sort of live biometric feedback you can get as athletes are going out testing your shoe, whether it be sensors in the shoes or sensors on them, to help you understand how that true physiological impact and that fine tuning you can do. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So actually, we've got sort of two scenarios. One is here, like when they're on campus here, we could take them down to the sports science hall. We've got all the tracking software. We've got all the cameras. We have them running on a treadmill, measuring their gait, measuring pronation, that sort of things, and really understanding what the shoe is doing in terms of benefit. And that's really that lab scenario. So we can really narrow it down and see exactly, are the rods, the stiffening rods, performing to the highest capabilities? Can we tweak them? Can we make them stiffer, softer, to really find the efficiency there? So that's one side. That's like the lab. But as you said, we also have on in-field testing. With the Speed Ultra project as well, we had a scenario where we worked with the athletes. We had various prototype shoes that we had them put on, and we had a closed loop of about 3 kilometers, where they ran around various terrains, very steep in some certain terrains, and we timed them. We asked for their feedback. We also had drone footage, seeing where they're accelerating, decelerating, and then they've got the sensors on the shoes tracking all the movements, tracking the pace as well as the efficiency, and then we can really pull that all together with the drone footage and see, oh yeah, that's the steep bit, that's where they gain some time. The downhill bits, that's where we need to catch up on some time. So we can really data analyze what we see from the video, from the visual side of things, and then also the graphs and the data that's collected.
No, that's fascinating, right? Like, what a high level of tuning that you're going to do. And that's that really fine tuning to understand how to absolutely optimize the shoe. I mean, the goal here obviously is to make the best in class. And, you got to pull from subjective and objective data to bring it all together.
Yeah, totally.
And it's resulting in some pretty cool projects that are coming out here. So let's get into product a little bit. So there are two major families in trail running for Adidas. Can you explain maybe the differences between these two, or
Yeah,
what they
we've
are,
got
first of all?
we've got the Agravic family. So that's as I just said, the Speed Ultra. That's where we've just recently launched it. I hope you've seen a lot of the campaigns and the hype that's around that. But the Agravic is really focused on, it's focused on the athlete, it's focused on racing, it's focused on speed and the best times you can get. It's focused on podiums, and it's focused really as going as fast as you can possibly go. And then within that Agravic range, we have various shoes in there that appeal to different terrains, different scenarios, but it's all about being fast and light in that scenario. And then we have the SoulStride silo, and the SoulStride's really focused on road to trail. It's focused on running for joy, running for the fun of it. That idea of getting close to nature, not worrying about times, not worrying about competing, really doing it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the SoulStride Ultra that's just been launched as well. It's a great example of the best-in-class shoe, focused on comfort and just there to help you go on your own personal journey and push your own personal limits.
Right. So there's the SoulStride family, and that is more around recreational running, just getting out there, like you said, just for the pure joy of it. And then you have the Agravic line, which is maybe more that competitive line when you're really trying to push things a little bit. And so different shoes. And then within those families, it's going to break down even more. So let's focus in on the SoulStride, because I do want to make sure we get to the GORE-TEX version of that. Within the SoulStride, you sort of referenced the Ultra. And so that would be at one part of this family. What are the other sort of tiers of this family?
Yeah, I've got the shoes here, so
Great.
I can show
Yeah,
you.
that's awesome.
With the Soulstride Ultra, so like I said, this is our pinnacle shoe. It's got all the pinnacle technologies in there, knitted upper, it was engineered upper, light boost in here. We've got light strike as the second midsole material, and then we've got the Continental outsole in here for the grip that's needed. We then have the Soulstride Flow, and this is really this is the Soulstride Flow, and then we have the GORE-TEX version of the Soulstride Flow. So these really go hand in hand. This is, you know, the summer version. This is the wet winter version, and this is then sits middle in the range. So we have our repetitive foam in this, high performance foam. We've got the Continental outsole and engineered upper on this as well, with all the protective elements.
When
And
you
then
say
on
engineered
the
upper, what do you mean by that? Can you help me get a little clarification on
yeah,
what that
sure.
means?
So I think this one you can see the best is the patterning here is not standard throughout the upper. So you can see there's differences there, and it's engineered in the sense that we can choose certain areas to have a more open for breathability, certain areas to have it closed for protection, and some robustness. Certain areas that we can build some stretch into, some lockdown in other areas, and that's then that all comes together in the upper, and there's benefits over in terms of the form, in terms of fit, compared to a standard
Yeah.
what we call a roller mesh, which is just a standard pattern throughout.
No, I mean, that's cool technology, right? I think we take for granted that each one of these sizes, each one of these, shoes is it has this engineered upper, and all these little zones have to be scaled for different sizes and sort of engineered into there. It's pretty cool technology that even exists.
Yeah, I mean, you're totally right. I mean, we work here with our sample sizes, but yeah, there's everything we do here that is scaled for the sizes. I mean, every part, every midsole, every outsole,
Yeah.
and all those engineered areas in the upper are all scaled for the size run.
No,
So
it's
yeah.
pretty interesting. So that's the flow, and then there's the GORE-TEX version.
Yeah, and then that's the flow. This is the GORE-TEX version of the flow, and with the GORE-TEX version, we're using invisible fit here. So
Yeah.
this is our first foray into invisible fit, and just a little bit to the advantages of invisible fit is it just allows us to keep that upper package in a lot more thinner and sleeker scenario compared to the older booty construction style. So it really allows us to utilize some of the benefits of that engineering mesh, where we don't get the distraction of a completely separate booty that's
Right.
moving around independently of the upper. So that's the first introduction into invisible fit for us.
Yeah, and let's dive into that a little bit more, but let's get to the final sort of the more sort of the other one in the family, just so folks are able to position this in there.
Exactly. So down the bottom of the range, we've got the Soul Stride. So the Soul Stride without any word afterwards. We have the Soul Stride, and then we have the Soul Stride Rain Ready. So the Rain Ready is our technology, our waterproof technology, which is obviously doesn't have invisible fit there, but this is the real entry level, still very good proposition for into trail running. But yes, of course, you get the ability there to upgrade with the higher models
Yeah.
as well.
So, and we had some question here around the different foams and the purpose of slightly different foams, right? You referenced all of these that are going to have slightly different foams. So let's take a look at the Soul Stride Flow. Why was that foam chosen, and what type of, the word stability in running means something very specific. So I want to be careful dancing around that, and maybe even just talk about it. But so what does that lend to the athlete in the foam that you've chosen in this?
Yeah, I mean, it's generally you sort of you get what you pay for to a certain extent. In this is for this price point, this is the best foam we could possibly put it into this product. So the focus here is, yes, stability, but also cushioning and comfort. I know that's very important for this type of consumer to have a soft foam underfoot that's also resilient. So that means it doesn't just collapse, it's also coming back. And Repetitor, which is the foam here, is a very, very nice balance between lightweight, that energy return, that resilience that you need, and then the actual step-in softness that's needed as well. So that's what you get on the Flow. And then, for instance, on the Soul Stride, the bottom price tier, it's very honestly, it's a cheaper EVA foam, and the cushioning and the responsiveness there is just a little less than what you get on the Repetitor foam here.
Yeah, and I can imagine that you at Adidas you have a lot of access to different foam technologies. I mean, coming from the road running, maybe there's even coming from hiking from all over the place, right? And so, as a PLM, how do you make those decisions? I mean, is it just price based? Are you looking for a certain durability spec, a certain rebound? Yeah, how are you able to draw from that library? It must be a cool library to pick from.
Yeah, yeah, it is, and we do have we have a scale system where it's been put together quite well that we can actually really focus on what's important for the product. Is it super soft comfort and that's it, like a sportswear product, a streetwear product, where it's all about that first initial step in, that sink in, and that's all you're sort of looking for. But then more on the performance side, that's when you need to get more demands from the foam. So generally in trail running, we're looking at that responsiveness, that the comfort, the underfoot comfort, but then the energy efficiency as well. So that really means when you compress it, that it's coming back to that same state as well, and it's coming back relatively quickly as well. It's not like a memory foam where
No,
you
yeah, you
squish
wouldn't
it
want
down.
the rebound to be after you're already done with your step, right? You just
Yeah,
gotta re
exactly.
right
And
away
then
give you that spring.
a big thing that we in trail running, really, I say we've got it tough compared to our road running colleagues, is the durability. It's really, as soon as you go off road and you're starting to impact rocks and get scrapes and drags and all the stuff that goes with trail running, durability is a major factor as well. So that's one of the factors that we really need to take care of in trail running compared to some of the other applications. So,
Yeah, and speaking of durability, Sam is asking about what do you around the toe area? Are you considering reinforcements in some of the products to in that kind of front zone? What are you doing there?
yeah, generally we have, I think in pretty much all the products, we've got a TPU foil on the outside here. So that's really for those initial impacts. It protects the upper material, the synthetic upper material, the fabric. So that's from the outside, the TPU. And then depending on how much we want to build up the shoe, then we've got internal toe cap in there as well, keeping some shape there, but also adding protection. It's the same on the sides as well. We have the TPU foils here, really for protection, adding stability as well. But it really depends on our application. The Gravix Speed Ultra here, like it's really about lightweight, the lightest weight possible
Yep.
and minimal as possible. It's a Formula One car that we still have TPU, we still got protection, but it's really focused on the knife edge. How much can we push it
Right, and
while
that's one of the
still?
big differences between like an aggravate and a soul stride. Soul stride is just for getting out after there. Maybe we want our shoes to last a little bit longer, whereas an
Exactly.
aggravate line, you're looking really, it's no holds barred, right? It's whatever it takes to achieve optimal performance on that run.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, that's fascinating. Speaking of durability and adding it in there, let's talk a little bit about the integration of the GORE-TEX Invisible Fit. Adding in Invisible Fit is interesting, right? Because we get to add what is currently we add a membrane layer in there, and then Gore works with you closely to probably spec out a backer to put on that next to sock layer. What does that do to the structure of the shoe? How does that affect the feel of the upper of the shoe? And as a PLM, how do you work with GORE-TEX to ensure that this is really optimized?
Yeah, I mean, in this particular case, this was our first experience with Invisible Fit. So it was that occasion of really working closely with GORE-TEX to learn about how we work with it and learn how how the lasting process works with invisible fit. And what's essential for us is having the fit as similar as possible to the non-GORE-TEX
Right.
shoe. So, it's using the same last. We're trying to use as much as the same manufacturing processes as possible. But then it's just for the consumer in store to have that option: GORE-TEX, non-GORE-TEX. Put the shoes on, and they're not feeling different. They're not reacting different. They're not feeling like a half a size smaller,
Right.
and things like that. So it's really about keeping the consistency with the non-Gore. And the invisible fit actually allows that quite well, because that package is much thinner than the booty, like I was saying before. So the package is a lot closer to the non-Gore, keeping the internal volume of the shoe much similar to the non-Gore.
Yeah, it's a cool use, because it can so happen that just even adding in the membranes, especially as we get into these thinner EPE membranes as we move into the future, these are really actually very thin, but they actually do add strength and sort of structure to the upper, which is interesting, right? So it may allow for a difference, maybe even lightening up the overall upper, because it is kind of a really cool material that gets integrated into there. So that's got to be an interesting process of considering the different materials and and then looking at how can it all be laminated together.
Yeah, exactly. Like we have a backing material. That consideration, if we've got the membrane there, we generally don't need it as much. That again, you can sort of swap out materials
Yeah.
to get the same thickness package in the end.
Yeah, you get this really cool high-tech material in there that adds structure, but also adds waterproof and proof and breathability, which is interesting. And
yeah, totally.
I have not seen your new shoe that's coming out in the spring. I can't wait to see it. So let's dive slightly into the Agravic line, just because it's exciting. And I know that you've worked on the Speed Ultra, which just won some awards here in the US. Get us a little stoked on that shoe. It's not a Gore shoe, but that's okay. Let's talk about it anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, like I mentioned, it's the Agravic Speed Ultra. At the same time, we're also launching the Agravic Speed. So these two guys here. Yeah, Agravic Speed Ultra. We initially did a sneak peek launch in Chamonix, UTMB last year, and then we got this on the market this year. So it's now in North America. It's launched all over the world, so it's available. Yeah, we're just really proud of this shoe, because it really feels like a rebirth to the Agravic range. Like we said, it developed with the athletes, for the athletes.
And is
we've
it
really
a longer distance, shorter distance? Like, what were you trying to achieve? What was the specific niche that this shoe is needing to fill?
Yeah, so this particular shoe was actually designed with Tom Evans. Tom Evans was one of our athletes that won the Western States last year. So that was actually, was it 3-4 years ago? That was the very simple brief: was let's get Tom Evans on the podium.
Okay. Shoe for Tom Evans. Okay, that's the start.
Yeah. So that's where this was born, with a super simple brief of saying that. And so we developed this shoe with him. So we lent a bit on our road running colleagues, what they're doing. Worked a lot with the innovation side and all the biomechanics and analytics that I mentioned before. And it's been a long process to get this out on the market, but we've seen a lot of success with this shoe. So yeah, to answer your question, meant for ultra distances, meant for more faster trails. So Western States is exactly the type of thing that we're talking about here. More sort of gravel type trails, but those ultra distances where efficiency is certainly the race winning focus. So that's where we've got the energy rods in there, all about saving your legs over those distances, over the 100 miles, 160 Ks, and
Well,
really
can you
focused
pause for a second?
on.
What's an energy rod? I don't know what that
All
technology
right,
is.
this is the orange part in the forefoot
Okay.
of the shoe here. So it's a bio-based TPE. I would say it's like a finger system. that sits in between the two foams here in the forefoot, extends to the midfoot in the rear. And it's really it's acting as similar to what carbon plates do on road, but we adapted that for trails. And we could have used carbon. We tested some carbon plates, but we just simply found that they were too stiff and too brittle for trail applications. So massive differences in terrain and uphill and downhill compared to road running. So we really found that this TPE, bio-based TPE, was the best solution for that. And again, really focused on efficiency. So it's about saving the legs. And in this case, we focused on some getting Tom Evans to win on the downhills. We saw with the analysis that you win on the downhill. So you gain those times, you gain that getting ahead of the competitor on the downhill. So that's really been the focus of this shoe. Saying that, our athletes loved the shoe so much, then they used it for lots of different applications. So this was then in UTMB, was in Cape Town, Snowdonia. It's been all over the world and been on podiums all over the world. So they've really shown us that the shoe is capable in many, many terrains and capable in many races as well. We don't need to do anything more. They're showing how capable it is. So it's been a really great success story so far.
No, it's exciting, and it's nice to have that come to market, I'm sure, for you, and see it with all that success. Run us through a little bit, if you will, because the folks around this call are retailers. They're tasked with fitting shoes, sometimes online with people. So giving us a little help with some of the fit profiles and the lasts that you've chosen. Let's begin with SoulStride, and we can also move into Agravic. But in the SoulStride family, are the lasts going to be the same throughout? Are they different from each of the different steps through?
They are slightly different from the top price point to the bottom. SoulStride Ultra, we've got a drop here of 6 millimeters, and really focused on stability. So SoulStride versus Agravic, for instance, we're really focusing on comfort fit. So it's fits a bit wider, fits a bit, just allows the forefoot to have a bit more comfort, a bit more expansion there. But yeah, really focused on stability, comfort running, heel, midfoot striking, but really focused on a comfort proposition. So 6 millimeter
more generous in the fit,
guys.
a little more volume, a little more width in the SoulStride families in general.
Exactly. And then the drops are fairly even throughout. I think these ones, I think this is an 8 mil drop. And same with the SoulStride as well. So 8 mil drop on those ones. And then looking to the Agravic, we generally have 8 mil drop through the range, really just to keep the consistency. But then on the Agravic Speed Ultra, in all the Agravic range, the lasts are a bit slimmer, a bit more of a race fit, a bit tighter package. Still some room in the forefoot for allow some expansion there, but really focused on a lockdown package, and that's coming from the last.
Yeah, and that's one of the things and when you're looking for that performance, it means you're going to sacrifice a little room in that to give that snugness, and on that race day where the only thing that matters is winning, right, and just getting through it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's exciting, and it's neat to see these lines, and now it helps to kind of parse them out a bit in the trail running. It's simplified quite a bit after kind of understanding and talking to you. Looking towards the future slightly, where do you see your partnership with Gore going? What types of technologies are you excited about? How as a PLM are you looking at integrating Gore in? Is it for all year use, 3-season use, and where do you want to place it in the line?
Yeah, I think like I was mentioning before, spring summer 26 in the Agravic range, we've got a very cool Gore shoe coming out, and we really feel like that's completing the range because, as I said, it feels like a real rebirth in spring summer 24 with some of the products that we're bringing out there, and that spring summer 25 GORE-TEX shoe would just allow us to enable the athletes to run all year round. That's the proposition that we're going with the GORE-TEX there. We have the Agravic 3, which I haven't got on camera here, launching in fall winter 25, and then the GORE-TEX version coming out in spring summer 2026.
It's hard. You live so far in the future. You have to roll back a few years for us.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really really enables us to complete the range with the GORE-TEX in the range, and then it's the same with the SoulStride as well in fall winter 25. We're relaunching refreshing the SoulStride range again. A GORE-TEX shoe in that range is a no-brainer. We simply have to be offering a GORE-TEX shoe to complete that range, to make sure that we're covering all bases there, enabling people to get out on the trails all year round.
Yeah.
We've got some GORE-TEX in some other trail running shoes as well. It's not to compliment you guys too much, but it just is that box that needs to be ticked. Offering outdoor shoes without GORE-TEX in them, it just seems like a complete miss. So we make sure it's in the range all the time.
Yeah, it kind of completes the family, right? Yeah, customers are asking for it. It's important to have that option as retailers to be able to sell that for folks who are looking for all season comfort. And I can just vouch for the Invisible Fit technology. Really, it doesn't matter what day of the year I wear it. I don't really notice it's on there until I get those wet ground conditions, right? So when I'm going out for longer days in the mountains and I don't know what the weather's going to be at the end of the day, it's pretty crucial to have that protection and have that ability to select that from your line. So it's cool to see it coming into more and more products.
Yeah.
And a nice option to sell to consumers. Rowan, any thing else you want to leave us with? We haven't talked much about sustainability, and I know that was part of your commitment at Adidas years ago, is really looking at different sustainable options. What are you sort of considering in these products, or what is Adidas' approach here currently in responsibility and sustainability?
Yeah, it's been a journey. It's been a real journey over the last few years. We have been exploring a lot of different areas of how we can be better and how we can be more sustainable. We went on quite a journey of looking to recycle products, and we decided, that's not the most efficient way. That's not how we're making the most impact that we should be making. So after a lot of exploration, a lot of trialing, and I was in the innovation at this time as well, so a lot of time and effort put into exploring how the best we can make an impact.
Right, methodical, right? I mean, just figuring, okay, if we do this, this is what happens. Looking at life cycle assessments, looking at the whole thing.
It's tremendously complicated. It's amazing. It's a world in itself of how best to be sustainable. It's so easy to say and so hard to do. And Adidas is truly committed. I mean, I wish I could show everyone the amount of resources and money that's being poured into trying to do better. But I can only say, I hope you believe me that we've put in so much effort to do better. And we've really come to this conclusion about decarbonization. That's the most efficient and measurable way to go forward. And that's so important for us, is it's not greenwashing, that it's measurable, that if there's any doubts in any minds of where and what we're doing, it's that measurable outcome that we can share with people. So decarbonization is the route now that we've chosen.
Yeah, and it seems like there's a thoughtful approach to that, right? So it's looking at the entire life cycle. Part of that would be, if there is going to be carbon used in it, how do you amortize that over longer periods of time? So how can we increase durability? How can you use less carbon intensive products? And Gore is there with you as an enabling technology, right? We can supply EPE, which uses less carbon in the manufacture. We can supply recycled textiles. We can go thinner with some of our materials. Again, less materials means less carbon produced. So, and we are also on our own decarbonization journey, right? So tuning up the factories to be carbon neutral as well. So it's an interesting journey, and yeah, hopefully we're supporting you along the way on that.
Yeah, I mean, we've recently made that EPE transition, driven by California. That's kind of cool. But yeah, that's also been a journey. Just switching out the existing GORE-TEX materials with the EPE
Mm-hmm.
materials. So constantly evolving things to have
Yeah.
less impact.
Yeah, there's a lot of inline changes that are going to go on this season, but it's not a simple plug and play, right? We can't just swap out the membrane and call it good, right? It has to go through retesting and all that in order to do that. But even
Exactly.
though in the end, we will start to, in retailers, just start to get some of this whole strides will be EPE, right? It'll be this kind of inline change that'll happen. No performance change per se, but we still have to go through our testing to make sure
Yes.
that when we put this in, and I'm sure you have to do your own, right? And
Yep.
just to
Exactly.
understand it. So
It
it's a
does.
whole new
It doesn't make
season.
things easier, but makes things better.
It makes things better, and it's worth the lift, right? Well, we have to, so which is great. I appreciate the legislation to make it happen. Well, Rowan, thank you so much. This has been really fun chatting with you. Lauren, thanks for taking care of the chat. I just want to leave it open right now for any additional questions y'all might have. You can unmute if you haven't had your answers or your questions fully answered. But this is a great time to do that as we wind down. Maybe Ben, do you mind popping up the exit poll? And you're going to see two questions here. Please answer these to just whatever strikes you today to answer these. And as you do, any other questions? I'll just put that out there to the audience.
Something that did come up in the chat, and I know I'm sure a lot of people are curious about. Rowan, do we have any knowledge yet on how, like, what kind of mileage durability we think we can get out of the Agravic Speed Ultra, and frankly the Agravic Speed as well? What are we thinking with that family?
Yeah, it's always a super tough question because it's always dependent on the runner, it's dependent on the weight, it's dependent on the terrain. I know legal probably doesn't want me to answer this question at all, but one of our athletes had put 1,500 kilometers on the shoe and it was looking okay. And that full disclaimer there that this athlete was running in a certain terrain, this athlete was a certain weight, but yeah, we've got that shoe to hand and it seems to be okay. I'm not suggesting that's what a consumer would be expecting, but we're confident that it's a quality product. We've got a super rigorous testing scenario that we go through with every shoe. I know there's a lot of internal complaints about how strict our testing is, but it does ensure that adidas then produces quality products. So I hope that's enough of an answer. But yeah, it's always super tough to answer, to give a mileage or to give a certain number there.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lauren. Yeah, thanks, Rowan. Yeah, it is a tough one to answer. And it really does depend on how you run in the terrain and your weights and your foot shape and things like that. But there is a ballpark, right? And it seems like you are studying that and choosing the foams that are going to work and give us a little more life out of these shoes.
Yeah. It depends on the product as well. The Speed Ultra is pinnacle race day product compared to something like the Solstride.
Yeah.
Expectations are completely different there as well.
Absolutely.
Lawrence asked what typically wears out first, the midsole foam, the rubber, the outsole, or the upper. And that is kind of tricky. Lawrence, you're right, depending on the user. But yeah, Rowan, what do you think on that question?
Yeah, God. If you're running on the road, the lugs are going to wear out first. I think it's probably to be expected. But if you're running only on trails, then it's a different scenario as well. So, yeah, trails only. I'd say the foam's probably going to get the most beating. Super tough again to give an answer to that.
Rowan, shout out to the outsoles that we use. I've been saying it in the chat, but Continental rubber outsole is so durable. I mean, it's hard to wear that thing down. Maybe if you're, like Rowan said, running on pavement all the time, but if you're keeping it on the dirt, it's hard to wear that out.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good call out there. That's one thing we really pride ourselves on is the partnership that we've got with Continental, because we have exclusivity with them. We've got the formulation with them as well. So a super close partnership there, and we believe it's the best rubber on the market.
Yeah, and you can choose from any rubber you want. So that says a lot, right? And that's where you've landed with that particular rubber in some of your shoes.
Yeah.
Well, Rowan, thank you for your time today. Thank you to the community for participating, being part of this conversation. It's always really informative. I love talking with you. It's fun to talk with also your coworker, Hendrik, at Adidas TERREX as well in the height category. I feel like we're learning a lot about the construction of just a really durable and just extremely high-end footwear product. And it's neat to see what TERREX is coming up with these days. I'm going to be watching closely as we move forward. So on behalf of the Experience More Tour community, thank you. And as on behalf of GORE-TEX, thanks to everybody for attending today and taking your time and being part of this conversation. It's a great conversation. And Rowan, we hope to have you back soon to chat more about some of the products.
Yeah, I can't wait to show you you grab your GORE-TEX.
Oh yeah, I can't wait either. So we're standing by. You give me a call, we'll go. So thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day, and we will see you back here at Experience More Tour. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Get some shoes on your feet. Try them on. Thanks, Rowan.
See you. Thanks.